بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. Praise be to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, the unique, the eternal, the everlasting, the all-seeing and hearing, the knowledgeable, the alive, the one that is generous and merciful. Praise be to Allah Ta'ala, the Creator and Lord of the universe. Praise is due to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, for He has given us every endowment that we have without that being an obligation upon Him to give. Allah Ta'ala is neither male nor female, neither is Allah in the sky, nor is He on the Arsh or in any place. Allah Ta'ala set the concept of time into motion such that seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months and years would pass, and He Tabaraka wa Ta'ala Himself is not bound by the limitations of what He created, namely time. And I ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to raise the rank, to elevate the status of our master, the messenger to this nation, Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. And I ask Allah to protect the Prophet's nation, the Muhammadan nation, from that which the Prophet feared for it. The Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wassalam, to whom we are grateful for having conveyed the message that Allah Ta'ala entrusted him with, having taught us about the means for everlasting bliss to paradise, and having taught us about the means of torture and torment in the grave on the Day of Judgment and hell. We thank the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam by asking Allah to elevate his rank even further. And we ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to grant us the shafa'ah of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. These words that we say, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, they are identificatory words. It is how you know the difference between a Muslim and a non-Muslim. Someone who answered the call of the messenger, Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, just as the believers of the previous nations to whom prophets were sent also answered the call many, many centuries ago. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to grant us all the sincere intentions. For His sake, not for the sake of people, not here for the sake of somebody who forced us to be here, but if that is the situation, for example, of such a person, then they would intend for the sake of Allah the intention takes a moment so that they would profit from being here. I ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to benefit from this session. The devil, when he is mentioned like this, then what is meant is the male who was the first creation of his kind. The devil was the first jinn among jinn kind. As Prophet Adam alayhi salam was the first man of mankind. Prophet Adam alayhi salam was the father of man. And Iblis, the devil, was the father of the jinn. There were no jinn before him. All of them came from him. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala created him from a smokeless flame. And he is perpetually damned, the accursed whose abode in the hereafter will be hellfire. Allah revealed in the Quran, Inna alayka la'nati ila yawmiddin. Addressing Iblis, Allah Ta'ala revealed, Indeed upon you is my damnation. He would be in hellfire in the future. But he said that he would take as many people with him as he could. Like the person who is falling off a cliff, he latches on to a precipice and his fingers are slowly slipping off the edge. But he takes somebody with him. He lashes around, flaps around to try to save himself. He is going to fall, but he takes others with him. Like that is the case of the devil. He said, I will take many with me except those specific slaves of yours, Ya Allah. Allah revealed in the Quran about hell, لَأَمْلَأَنَّ جَهَنَّمَ, that Allah would fill the hellfire with people and the demons, the devils among the jinn. Most people will enter hell. This sounds like, and it is a very bold statement that the scholars made, but of course that is based upon proof. They said most humans will enter hell. Our Sheikh Abdullah rahimahullah, he said, خلق الله أكثر البشر للكفر والضلال. Allah created most people for their final abode to be hell. Allah created most people to be upon blasphemy. Comparatively, there are a small number of people that will be saved. The number of people that will be saved is very large, mind you. Comparatively to those that will enter hell, it is smaller. The footsteps of the devil. Allah revealed in the Quran about the devil, فَاتَّخِذُوهُ عَدُوًّا. Take the devil as your enemy. إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ. He is a grave enemy for you. So do not follow in his footsteps. There are things that the devil does. There are things that the devil calls towards. There are ways in which the devil lures and attempts to entice. Many people fall. Many people, they are taken by these tricks of the devil. Many of them are predicated upon desire. Desire for food, desire for sexual intimacy, desire for comfort, desire for an adrenaline rush. Many of them are predicated upon ease, upon enjoyment in this life. Many of them are based upon forgetting about the real life, if you will. That life about which Allah revealed that it is la hayawan. That is the life to live, the life of the hereafter in paradise. Although this life of the world is not an illusion, it is real. But the life that is worth living is the life in the hereafter, in paradise, where one would enjoy and be in perpetual pleasure, in absolute luxury. That's why a person is encouraged to sacrifice the luxuries of this world, especially, and of course, absolutely the ones that are impermissible. Sacrifice them for the luxuries of the hereafter, to attain them in full. So today we're going to speak about the footsteps of the devil. How does the devil get you? I ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala for the God-given success at Tawfiq and his support, Azza wa Jal. Understanding the tactics of the devil in the modern world. Let it be known that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, in more than one part of the Quran, in Surah An-Nur, Surah Al-Baqarah, and Surah Al-An'am, Allah revealed, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان لا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان. لا تتبعوا means do not follow. خطوات the steps, literally the footsteps. لا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان. Do not follow the footsteps of the devil. You see, you can understand from this ayah that the devil, he doesn't do things in a way where he tries to misguide a person and mislead him or her all at once. Rather, it is that he attempts to mislead a person step by step. Allah revealed, لا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان. Don't follow in the footsteps, plural, of the devil. So he attempts to take a person step by step. The ultimate goal of the devil is to get a person to become a kafir. Whether kafir mu'lin, a very apparent kafir, like a Christian or a Jew or an atheist or a Hindu and so on, a very apparent disbeliever like this, or for a person to fall out of al-Islam even without knowing about it. And that happens. Some people fall out of Islam and they live their lives thinking that they are Muslims. That is the work of the devil. The strategy of the devil, it starts off with getting a person to commit small sins. Even before that, though, because the devil calls towards laziness and calls towards the pleasures of the world, a person's determination to learn the Islamic knowledge is almost non-existent. And this is the source of so much evil. For indeed, like Hudhayfah ibn al-Yaman said, إِنَّ مَنْ لَا يَعْرِفُ الشَّرَّ يَقَعُ فِيهِ. He said, whoever does not know evil is more likely to fall into it. So a person learns the Islamic knowledge to know what the obligations are. Hence, they know not to neglect them. For indeed, that is evil. And they learn about what the sins are to know not to fall into them. If a person doesn't learn the personal obligatory knowledge, then in the devil's opinion, that is a great start. That is one of the best people for him to work with. One may say more than half of his job has already been done. Like a weapon in the hands of someone who doesn't know how to use it. They hold it, they move it to the left, they move it to the right. It could go off at any second and they don't even know. And they're playing with it. That's what the devil does. He gives a person an item like that and he lets them play with it. They do not know how to use it. They do not know how to protect themselves from it. Sooner or later, it will explode. So he starts with small sins. And a person should not think little of a small sin. For a person, by committing a small sin, they are disobeying Allah, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And this is a grave matter, to disobey Allah. A person can become complacent. This is the nature of the human being. The human being can get used to doing small sins, convincing himself that I'll repent tomorrow. I'll change it tomorrow. Before they know it, a few years have passed. And they've been saying that and doing that sin. So it starts off with small sins. It makes a sin look less harmful because a person may say to himself, I've been committing this sin for X amount of time and nothing has happened to me. I'm healthy, I'm good looking, I'm wealthy, and so on, and nothing has happened to me. Little does this person know that it is by the grace and mercy of Allah that Allah has withheld punishment from this person. And yet this person negligently, he continues looking around saying there's nothing wrong. I'm sinning, but nothing has happened to me. I haven't been affected in my bodily limbs or my mind or my children or my assets, my house. And he continues negligently. This encourages delays in doing good deeds also. Slowly, as the black dots grow on a person's heart, a person begins to be deprived of the signs of the mercy of Allah. They find less barakah in their life. They find less barakah in their food. They find less barakah in their wealth. They find little barakah in their time. They find little barakah in their relationships with their spouse, with their children, with their parents. They don't find blessings with their relationships with their friends. Slowly, something eats them up inside. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala prevents these blessings from entering their lives. These blessings that are a sign of the mercy of Allah to the slave. As a person sins, these doors of mercies that were open and were gushing upon him, slowly, and usually he doesn't notice, slowly they are taken from him. Tabarakallah. We ask Allah to not withhold blessings from us. We ask Allah Ta'ala to not lock our hearts such that blessings and mercies wouldn't enter them. We ask Allah to bless our time. We ask Allah to bless our bodies, to bless our relationships, to bless us such that we would acquire good manners, to enable us to attend gatherings of religious knowledge, to sit with the pious people, to be wise in our interactions. One of the ways that the devils get a person is through desire. The Prophet ﷺ said, إن المرأة إذا خرجت استشرفها الشيطان. المرأة عورة فإذا خرجت استشرفها الشيطان. The Prophet ﷺ said, Al-mar'atu awra, the woman is awra, meaning most of her body in front of a marriageable male is something that she has to cover. if she leaves the house, even if she's covered fully, even if she's wearing the sunnah niqab, the devil pays special attention to her. Like when somebody is looking at something that they can see in the distance and they want to focus on it, and the light of the sun is hitting their eyes, what do? They put the palm of their hand above their brow and they focus. That's known in Arabic as al-istishraf. When the woman exits, whether she was a pious lady, an accepted slave of Allah, or a sinful woman, whether a Muslim woman or a kafirah, when she exits, istashrafaha shaitan, the devil pays special attention to her. Because the devil knows the influence that she can have intentionally or inadvertently upon marriageable men. The devil understands how he can use a woman, even a pious woman, to inject thoughts into the minds of many men, when it would be no fault of that pious woman at all. She is going about her day. But it starts off with small sins from the man. He looks, for example, the desirous look. He looks at her face, but with desire, with lust. And this is a small sin. The next day, he doesn't look at her face. He looks at another part of her body and he desires her. He commits another sin. Like this, the days pass. He lives in a society where many women, they do not wear the headscarf. Or many women do not cover parts of their body. They don't cover their legs or their shoulders or their arms and so on. Like this, he continues committing sins, small sins, looking at the parts that he is not allowed to look at, with or without desire. Here, if a man looks at a woman's body, so not her face, not her hands, and not her feet below the ankles, any other part of her body, if he on purpose looks at it, then it is sinful, even if it is without desire. So he gets used to doing this because of the company that he has, because of where he lives, because of what he is exposed to. So here we have the normalization of sins, the normalization of the forbidden look. The Prophet ﷺ said, كل عين زانية. Most eyes are fornicators. Most eyes are fornicators, meaning most eyes of men, they look the forbidden look. Of course, the prophets are excluded from this. They do not look the forbidden, desirous look. Desire can be a dangerous thing. It is not something that another person can identify. If a young man is talking to your daughter, and you can see them both, of course you must think well of this Muslim. But, for example, if a young Muslim man was talking to a young Muslim female, face to face. And he got used to committing these small sins. He got used to playing on his desire. And even though he is experiencing desire, at which point he should pull away, he should move away, he should not talk to her, he continues and he is enjoying talking to her. He may be speaking very apparently normally to her, but inside he is experiencing pleasure. And what I mean here is he speaks with lust. So young men, on the contrary, all men, as I mentioned earlier, they need to watch this matter such that it doesn't go unnoticed. And this can occur if a man was talking to a woman to get to know her, and her father knows about it, and he has learned the rules of the religion, and he seeks to marry her, then there is no problem in that. There is no problem in that. Even if he is already married. Of course, the Islamic law, we know what it dictates. We know what the rules of the religion are. So the point is that when desire is involved, then this is something that both men and women need to be aware of, because the devil, he knows that this is something that has been instilled, created within Bani Adam. Likewise the jinn. The Prophet ﷺ described the many different types of zina. We ask Allah to protect us from them. Nowadays, social media is like the devil's playground in many a sense. It can be used for good, but this is not mostly what it's used for. Comparing social media in terms of the good and the bad that it's used for, then the good is very little, astronomically small. On social media, the devil normalizes immodesty. Obsessions with likes and validation. Distraction after distraction after distraction. He calls towards exposure to doubts and false ideologies. He calls to suspicion. He calls to this desire of wanting to know what he is doing or what she is doing. The devil, he knows that most people, they'll want to stick their nose in other people's business. They'll want to know, where is it that she goes after work? How is she with her siblings? How is he with his wife? What's the latest about him? Among what the devil has managed to entice many people into is not being modest, especially for women wearing revealing clothing, whether it be whether it start with having loose sleeves when she should have all of her arm covered up to and including the wrist and part of her hand also. When it comes to many women, they wear loose sleeves and a part of her body is exposed, that which she has to cover in front of marriageable men. Allahu A'lam what she thinks. If she is not married, then will somebody seeing that extra part of her body, will that get her married? If it does, then she sinned to get married. Is that the case? Or many women, for example, they do not cover, they do not wear the headscarf properly. It starts off like this, like this. Then you see, subhanallah, some women, they will wear the headscarf properly, alhamdulillah, but all of the arm is showing, for example. It would have been more complete for her to cover all of her arm as well as she did with her head. So the devil normalizes wearing revealing clothing, dancing also, moving the body where the hips move. This is not permissible. This type of, if you want to call it arraqs or dancing, this is not permissible. Where the hips move, this is haram for a man to do that, or for a woman to do that, even if it was with a group of women. This is not permissible to bend at the waist like that. And nowadays, with the onset of social media platforms, some filthy social media platforms, they desensitize hearts. Allah revealed in the Quran what means, tell the believing men to lower their gaze. That's part of how the devil gets people. Showing off, posting about having donated. This is not to say that some people won't donate for the sake of Allah. No. But this culture that has been breeded about when you do a good deed, show it to other people. When you donate, take a picture. Or when you give somebody something to a poor person, then make a video. Yes, I understand that sometimes people do that to encourage others. And if they are doing that for the sake of Allah, then good on them. MashaAllah, Allah yubarik. Or to do things for attention. And everybody knows their own intention. The danger is when a person doesn't understand what they're doing. They know what they're doing, but they don't understand. They don't realize that this is showing off, or ar-riya, that they're doing it for other than the sake of Allah, tabaraka wa ta'ala, seeking the praise of the people. The Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam said, the matter that I fear most for you, among the matters that I fear the most for you, is ash-shirkul asghar, which means the minor shirk, which is doing deeds of righteousness, but for other than the sake of Allah, like for the sake of the people. Subhanallah. Many youngsters nowadays, many influencers, many young men and many young women, if somebody leaves a comment on one of their posts that is negative, or if they lose some followers, or they get unfriended or unfollowed, they fall into a type of depressive state without exaggerating. If you think about that, it's fascinating. All that's happened there is something on a screen, something electronic, something that is not actually palpable. Somebody pressed unfollow, or somebody didn't send an emoji, and this person became upset as though their world is over. Wow, what a state. What a state the world is in. Subhanallah. And the luxury that the devil calls towards. In the past, subhanallah, we now, if it gets hot, we might have a fan or an air conditioner or something of the sort. In the past, the kings, they had servants who from afar would sprinkle water on them every few minutes. That was the type of luxury that they lived in. And that was considered to be the highest type of luxury. Someone would come and sprinkle water on you from afar. So let's say, mere droplets of droplets would get to a person and be refreshing. In the past, people used to use apples, large green mountain apples. They used to pick them from the trees and they used to wrap them up in their clothing that they would later wear. They would do that so that they would smell nice. MashaAllah. Nowadays, subhanallah. Following the devil's footsteps, the devil encourages us to waste our time. We only have a limited amount in this life. And the glass sand timer, the grains are slowly depleting from the top compartment into the bottom one, descending grain by grain by grain. One day, no grains will be left in the top compartment. How many of those grains passed through the partition from the top to the bottom while the young was scrolling or delaying their prayer, but neglecting the gatherings of blessings that angels attend, namely the religious knowledge gatherings. The Prophet ﷺ said, نِعْمَتَانِ مَغْبُونٌ فِيهِمَا كَثِيرٌ مِّنَ النَّاسِ. There are two blessings, two endowments that many people waste. They are health, الصحة, والفراغ, and free time. Nowadays, with the Western lifestyle that many Muslim youths have adopted, and I don't mean to pick on the youth, even those that are older than that, many people, most people who have what's known as a smartphone today, you can't set an age to it. You can't say those who were born after 1985, for example, or those who were born after 1980. No, no, way above that. Perhaps you could go now and say those who were born after 1975 or 1970 or further. They've adopted the Western lifestyle. One example, who amongst us prays the Tahajjud prayer? The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, فَإِنَّهُ دَأْبُ الصَّالِحِينَ مِن قَبْلِكُمْ. It is the practice of the pious before you. It is the practice of the pious who preceded you. So how many people are practicing this practice of the pious people? It's branded as something that the pious people did. But instead, in this Western lifestyle, there is a love for haram music, chasing luxury and fame, and zina being normalized. Materialism, such as obsessing with fashion, obsessing with wealth and luxury, whilst even one poor, destitute, malnutrition Muslim child dies, or a non-Muslim child dies, or drinks from a muddy puddle. Doesn't that make a person shy? Wouldn't that make a person shy? Subhanallah. That I am engaged in so much luxury, I'm indulging in so much luxury in the way that I sleep, dress, eat, in what some people call recreational activities. And yet there are Muslims out there that are starving, that are cold, that are naked. Some people, it's as though they have been given to drink love for the world, as though it's been injected right into their heart. This causes hesitation to pray, hesitation in making dua, hesitation in giving in charity. Because of all of this concoction, some people are embarrassed to practice al-Islam. They might even feel ashamed of Islamic values. They end up trying to justify perhaps sins and questioning Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala, wa la'ayadhu billah, objecting to Allah. The devil, a person protects against him through learning the Islamic knowledge and doing the good deeds. Through at-taqwa. That's the only way. To actually take him as an enemy and not take him as a friend. Even though a person would enjoy doing certain things, would enjoy, would experience pleasure in doing haram things. But the devil is no friend to you and I. Nowadays, people will treat the people who want to advise them with good, people like yourselves, people who want to advise others with good and to stick to the Islamic way and to refrain from certain sins that you see them people doing or about to do. Many people will treat this person as though they are an enemy. And they will treat the devil as though he is a friend. And they will, as though they will be at the beck and call of every calling of the devil, while they will shun and ignore every caller towards the good. Al-mawazinu ma'kusa. The Prophet ﷺ said that a time would come, يَصِيرُ الْمَعْرُوفُ فِيهِ مُنْكَرًا وَالْمُنْكَرُ مَعْرُوفًا. The time would come in which the good, the pure, the righteous, the blessed, it will be considered by many people to be something bad. Take this example. Getting married. Engaging in intimacy, sexual intercourse within marriage. This is something pure, good, blessed. This contains nur. This is something that is accepted by Allah, encouraged by the Prophet ﷺ. Nowadays, people, many people, they will opt out of that, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, and call it old-fashioned. And they will seek many, promiscuously, of course, they will seek many sexual partners. And they will give favor to this over marriage, over something halal. Like those people that the Prophet saw ﷺ on the night of Mi'raj, they were leaving the cooked and cut, pure, delectable meat. They were leaving it for the rotting meat, and they were going to eat the rotting one. Subhanallah. So the solution is to strengthen one's taqwa by learning and implementing, by guarding the senses, not succumbing to one's desires, to cut out all harmful content, to perfect their prayer and their dhikr, and to choose righteous companions. One protects him or herself by saying a tahseen, by following the religious advices, however they come. A person should follow the religious advices, however they come and wherever they come from. Sometimes even a kafir might mention something good, and it aligns with what you know to be religiously good, even if it's difficult for you. But you follow it, even if a kafir said it, because it aligns with what Prophet Muhammad came with, alayhi salatu wassalam. So you do the good. You do your tahseen in the morning and in the evening, reciting Al-Ikhlas, Al-Falaq, and Al-Nas 3 times each. Ayatul Kursi after every prayer. When it comes to social media, then one unfollows social accounts that are harmful for them. If it's a male, then they unfollow all of the accounts that they know cause them to commit the sin of the zina of the eye. And to also unfollow people who have vulgar practices that do not increase you in anything honorable in your life. Another solution is to spend time with practicing Muslims. This is an important matter. So, in conclusion, know that the devil works gradually. He works hard. They say, no rest for the wicked. It's true. Devils don't sleep. But they work very hard. And they know what they're doing. They've done it thousands of times before. Millions of times before. So don't be easy prey for the devil. Use modern tools wisely. And strengthen your iman. Do not follow in the footsteps of the devil. We ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to protect us from makayid al-shaytan, the traps of the devil. And we ask Allah to keep us steadfast upon the truth. You reflect your own habits, whether you are a teenager or you, oh listener, you are a father of 3 or a mother of 4, whoever you are. Reflect, think about your own habits. What are the things that you've been doing in the not so distant past, or up to today, things you've been doing that you've become complacent in? You're a bit too grumpy, for example. Causes you to be a little reactionary. It causes you to be mean. Or you've been delaying your prayer to a time at which it becomes disliked. You don't get any reward. Oh, there are many things that you find if you look in your own habits. Many things. So make positive changes for the sake of Allah, and prepare for your hereafter. If you fail to prepare, then you need to prepare to fail. Barakallahu fikum. It is, in my part of the world, it is Laylatul Jumu'ah. So please do make as-salah and as-salam upon the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam tonight, insha'Allah ta'ala. You would see the great blessings of that. Do a lot of istighfar also, do a lot of dua. Make dua for the Muslims that are suffering all around the world. Make dua for those that are without shelter, without food. Make dua that Allah strengthens you, that Allah strengthens your iman, that Allah creates within you, rather that Allah makes reignited the flame of the passion that, let's say, you once had for the Islamic knowledge, or that Allah grants this fire to burn inside you, this want, this urge to learn more and more Islamic knowledge and then to implement. We ask Allah for that because that's something the Prophet loved for us. Alayhi salatu wassalam. Let's make the Messenger of Allah happy. And by that we are worshipping Allah. Tabaraka wa ta'ala. Okay. And also please do make dua for all of our teachers, especially those that are the up and coming, let's say, teachers. We ask Allah to strengthen them, to grant them wisdom, to grant them His support, tabaraka wa ta'ala. You know, it's needed on social media also for people to be, if you see something on social media that's wrong, don't just skip. Write, comment, say this is wrong, say this is not permissible, such and such and such. We do not want to be like the Yahud about whom Allah revealed, كانوا لا يتناهون عن منكر فعلوه. They would turn a blind eye to the evil that they would see, as though they would say, that's none of my business. So the more that we can be active on social media, the better. Now, that's not to take away from anything that's happening that you're doing locally. There is almost nothing like working and teaching people in your centers, in the centers where you are, if you are where there is a center, mashallah, or a masjid. I'm talking about the men here, especially. Subhanallah. But our da'wah, the da'wah of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, it is both in person and online. Imagine nobody taught online, or none of our brothers, Allah yubarik fihim, who make short videos and have lots of followers on the different platforms, mashallah. I saw one of our brothers the other day, mashallah, he has many hundreds of thousands of followers. Allah yubarik fihi. And like that, some of our sisters also. This is something that is good, and it's something that it's needed, and it's something that Sheikh Abdullah was very pleased with. MashaAllah. Anyway, Barakallahu fikum. Oh, sorry, just having a look at some of this. Yes, okay, Barakallahu fik. Yes. Uh, yes, it will be, inshallah. All right. Barakallahu fikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.